Okay, so Love, Death, and Robots, Episode 1, Sonnie's Edge. First off, I love any type of cyberpunk setting, and what blew my mind is how well they presented this in animation. It's never looked this good before to me, and the cyberpunk music worked really well here too. The tone was very consistent and effective. But what blew my mind about the animation the most in this episode was right off the bat, you see on Sonnie's truck, it says Sonnie's Predators in like glow in the dark paint. And you'll see this type of effect on our competitor's skin, the paint they're wearing. It looks like it's getting hit by a black light. That animation blew me away. I don't remember seeing anything that awesome looking and total eye candy. It felt like the back of a Spencer's gift store on steroids. And seriously, just to get this off my chest, obviously the graphics here, when you see these characters, are outstanding. It's like watching cutscenes of the best video game ever made. So we see Sonnie and her gang get to this old building, and we meet our big villain, Dicko. The name says a lot. Dicko reminded me kind of a villain you would see from Batman, kind of like a Gotham feel, that would be his backstory. We get little hints throughout this episode hinting at the big twist later on. When we first see Dicko see Sonnie's monster, he says, "He is magnificent," which she replies, "She is." So it's a very tiny little hint to that big reveal at the end. So now it actually jumps into the theme of the episode, and what's interesting is it jumps into an issue that's very current today, and that is a successful man being threatened by a successful woman, and showing you how that behavior can come about and what a man like that does. So we know Sonnie's on a 17-game win streak in these fights, and that right there is a threat to him, and he offers to pay her off to lose the match on purpose, literally $500,000. But Sonnie wants none of that. She wants to take care of the men who did terrible things to her. So it's kind of painted at first as a total revenge story, but it's a little bit of a misdirect that really worked to not give away the big reveal at the end. So we'll get to that. So Sonnie's friend explains to Dicko how she was gang raped a year ago by estate men, and they started cutting into her flesh, hence the cut marks all over Sonnie. And during this narration, I was just totally floored by the feeling this gave me, where I'm watching something animated, but it feels like it was filmed on a camera and that it wasn't actually designed in a computer. And that's just from the way we see some of these shots. And during this narration, you see Sonnie's feet it's focusing on as she's walking. The angle is just spectacular in how it's moving down, but also the lighting in it with the animation where you see a shadow going. They're just showing off there. And again, when we see this big arena, it looks awesome. Another little hint to the big reveal later on also is Wes saying to her really quick, right before the match starts, "Is you okay in there?" Us as the audience thinking he's just talking to Sonnie in general, but he knows that she is actually the monster, and that's who he's really talking to. So we see these two monsters go at it, and it's very Pokemon-esque with two, we can call them trainers, controlling their beasts to fight each other. So the tension was built up here great during the fight. Just lines they throw in like her heart rate is spiking. Kind of gets your heart rate to start pump a bit. And I love this show. Lets you know right away in this scene, oh, they're going for it. It is total MA and gore, and I love it. And some of the little cool effects they did here, I really liked when Sonnie's monster had almost like a Doc Ock effect from Spider-Man. You see all her tentacles come up and raise her. And honestly, if you only watch this episode once, you should watch it again, because it's really crazy watching this now knowing that Sonnie is the beast. It adds so much more weight to this. And there's a very powerful moment here where the monster she is fighting is on top of her monster self, and it's almost symbolic to me of what she must have felt like when these men were on top of her and gang raped her, but this time she wins. So then we see post-match, Sonnie sees Dicko's gal pal walking over to the monster, and you see this girl is the complete opposite of Sonnie. She's prim, proper, girly girl, materialistic. She's wearing those really nice shoes, and they keep making a focus of that, comparing it to Sonnie's just bare feet. And this scene worked really well because they actually start to make you think this girl is actually a good person and forced to be with Dicko because she said it's for her security, and she says that she's envious of Sonnie. And then they're getting sensual, and we get some animated nudity here. And I'm thinking to myself, I shouldn't be getting hot and bothered. This is animation. What the hell? But a nice little touch they had here too is when they were getting close, you see the monster behind Sonnie, who's really Sonnie, is also putting its head down and getting sensual as well. And during this, Sonnie goes on a little monologue here about fear keeping her alive, that it's primal. And she explains that the angry little girl out for revenge is what people think is giving her this edge and constantly winning. And says Dicko only believes that because he wants to. Again, going to this theme of threat of a woman to a man in power. And then, when we're in this sensual moment, all of a sudden, this chick has a Wolverine claw come up and go right through Sonnie's head. That scared the living crap out of me. Wow, that got me good. I did not see that coming. That worked perfect. Because you trusted her and she seemed nice and they're having a sensual moment, that had to catch you off guard. So it made it super terrifying. The shock worked. And then Dicko appears from the shadows. Are you scared now, he says. Important line. Remember that. And again, this gore looks awesome. The animation of it, especially in Sonnie's face here. And when they're stepping on her face. Her eye was popping out like a certain character in Walking Dead when he got his face beat in with a bat. And Dicko says to her, was the pride worth it? Again, thinking that her only edge is her pride and wanting revenge. Not actually seeing she has outsmarted everybody here. And then we get the big reveal. She isn't in her body. Sonnie comes on a speaker, explains that her friends found her body that night of the gang rape, kept the body, but her skull happened to be crushed. And she says, you want to know my edge? Every time I step into the ring, I'm fighting for my life. That fear is my edge. Then bam, one of her tentacles goes into that girl's head, revealing she was the actual monster, and her as the monster is controlling a bot version of herself. It's the reverse of the whole system and how it works. And she mentions it was the fear of death that gave her her edge. Grabs Dicko and says, are you scared now? Going directly in reference to the line he said opening the scene when he came in. Brilliant writing there. That is how you tightly knit a short story and make every frame and every line important and worth its time. It is such a challenge in only 17 minutes to get that much action and themes crammed in there while making you still feel a ton of weight here to your main character and connection. And again, obviously this is amazing eye candy, but valued the story as well. It felt fresh, and it was a hell of a ride for a short. It's like a nice little espresso shot. I'm going to give this a 9.4. Let me know what you thought of this episode down below. I'd love to hear your opinions. I read every comment and try to respond to as many as I can. Please subscribe so you don't miss one of my reviews of Love, Death, and Robots, and I do a bunch of other TV shows as well. And please follow me at SteveVarley1 on Twitter and Instagram for more of me. On Instagram, you'll see I do movie reviews. You can only get there, so make sure to follow that. And I'll see you next time.